I'll stay calm.
You got him a face, and then you shat yourself.
You come.
No one was holding you back.
I shot myself.
Yeah, you wouldn't come outside.
Okay,
you shot yourself.
Okay, you say whatever you want to say.
Video footage is there.
Okay, you see I shot yourself. Okay, you see that.
So this past weekend was the Hafthor Bjornsson versus Eddie Hall boxing match, which we've been anticipating for what feels like years now, and I have to say it didn't disappoint. So big disclaimer, I am not a boxing expert. This is all the analysis and the observation of a random fan. These guys did an amazing job kind of promoting this heading into it. It did lose a little bit of steam because it felt like it just kept dragging and dragging, and a lot of people even forgot this fight was supposed to happen, but it was well worth the wait in my opinion. So first thing we have to note is these guys are two gargantuan individuals. I mean, I keep forgetting how tall Eddie Hall is. He's 6'3", which is like well above average height, but staying next to Hafthor Bjornsson, he looks pretty short, and Eddie's also a stocky guy. And not to mention, Hafthor Bjornsson having to cut like 70 pounds for this fight and still being 300 plus shredded is a mind-boggling fact in and of itself. But you know, without wasting any more time, let's just get into the fight. Getting to the analysis, Eddie Hall came out swinging in round one. He really set the pace. He was the aggressor. He caught Thor quite a few times early, and I think that caught Thor by surprise. I don't think Thor was expecting that. So in terms of that first round, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Eddie Hall. I think Thor was still kind of setting up the distance, getting used to the pace, because Eddie was getting in his face, closing that distance, really making Thor work. And you know, one of the issues coming into this fight that people were going to look out for was cardio. How were these guys going to keep up cardio wise? And all in all, they did a pretty good job. But relative to the first round, I'm going to give that to Eddie Hall. Now, despite the fact that Eddie was landing a little more than Thor was in that first round, Eddie still got cut. He got cut right above that right eye. Thor got him pretty good when Thor did land. So in terms of significant punches, Thor did get some significant ones in. So I think after that first round, Eddie was ahead, but Thor did have more significant strikes. I am not a boxing expert. This is just the analysis of a random fan watching. The second round had some nice highlights. Thor came out, pushed the pace a little bit, tried to be a little more aggressive. Eddie did have him leaning on those ropes though when he caught him, and kind of pushed Thor back. Technically, based on what the announcer said, that was a knockdown. That was a nice strike by Eddie. Didn't expect that. But Thor took it on the chin. He got back up, and Thor's technique was looking pretty decent. He didn't look as slow as he did before. You know, people were kind of roasting him on social media, saying he looked slow. But, you know, Thor was pretty good in terms of his elusiveness, his footwork. He just got caught by Eddie in that second round, and Eddie did kind of throw Thor down at one point. It looked like a punch in real time, but it was not. I mean, it kind of was a punch. It was like a half punch, half bear hug and throw down. But you know, that was nice. Oh no, it was just nice to see these guys engage. It looked like they wanted to knock each other out constantly. So you could tell it was more about entertaining the fans than just the money. And you know, heading into this fight, that was kind of the concern. But they did not disappoint in terms of engaging with each other. These guys were going at it. I think in terms of that second round, it was pretty close. But I think Eddie narrowly won that second round as well, in my opinion. Again, uneducated boxing fan, but based on what I observed, Eddie was a little more active. He did land more significant strikes in that second round, and I think he was leading just by a slim margin heading into the third. Now, it is important to note that at the end of that second round, Eddie's other eye was cut wide open. Thor got him again, and it was kind of like bleeding all over his face. There was a point where at the end of that round, Eddie couldn't really see properly. So, you know, that was pretty significant. Now that third round was, I would say, Thor's round. He came out, he was a lot more active, he was moving, he wasn't letting Eddie walk him down as much. He was a little more the aggressor this round. Eddie did land some good strikes, but the biggest highlight of this round was near the end when Thor caught Eddie slipping and just dropped him. It was a beautiful left hook by Thor, and I think combine that with most of his activity in the third round, landing some of the other strikes that he did land, Eddie was kind of gassing out a little bit in that third round, but I think that one was clearly Thor Bjornsson. Now, the fourth round wasn't as busy, wasn't as crazy. Thor did come out and take over that aggressor role a little more in the fourth round. He was landing some nice jabs. Eddie was holding his own, maintaining his cardio pretty well, but Thor probably had the better round there. Again, he was starting to maintain his ground and not let Eddie kind of get in his space as much. Eddie did connect a few times, but this round was, for the most part, I would say, pretty uneventful. Fifth round was a pretty good round for Thor, I would say. Eddie was fading just a little bit, couldn't close the distance as much, and Thor was just mostly defense, and when he did counterpunch, he landed pretty well. Thor did have more meaningful strikes in this fifth round. He landed more than Eddie overall, and Eddie was fading in terms of his cardio, and Thor had some really solid defense, so this round was all Thor Bjornsson. Now, this final round was a great round. This was all about Eddie Hall needing to make up a lot of ground and see if he can catch Thor. So Eddie came out super aggressive in this round, but to no avail because Thor knocked him down pretty early in the round. I think it was a 2-minute 20 mark, something like that. Eddie got knocked down, clean strike from Thor, and I think that's when Thor kind of knew that, if he can maintain some defense after this, it was basically over. Both guys had one knockdown each at that point, and they were pretty close on the scorecard, but that knockdown in the 6th round by Thor kind of put him over the top, and at that point he just had to play defense for the rest of the round, which is exactly what he did to seal the victory. I think objectively it was a good victory for Thor. Those cuts were getting a lot more bloody and getting in the way of his vision, so at that point you knew it was kind of over. Now at the end of that 6th round, Eddie Hall was loading up that right hand, trying to get that knockout, but in the end, Thor's defense would prevail. This was a great fight from both guys, man. It was significantly more entertaining than I thought it would be. Very happy that this fight ended up happening. Did not disappoint at all. Like I said, it exceeded expectations, and both these guys came to knock each other out. This wasn't about a check for them. They came to really entertain the fans. That's exactly what I think they did. Eddie did well. He held his own. I think technique-wise, Thor did a lot better than people thought he would do. His cardio was a lot better than people thought it would be. His footwork was pretty good. Eddie, of course, being the smaller guy, was a lot faster, more nimble, and they both put on some great performances, but in the end, Thor did cut Eddie twice, and he got those 2 knockdowns. That last one was just the icing on the cake, and Thor's defense did prevail. That reach advantage was something that Thor did do a great job of taking advantage of. So all in all, this was a great boxing match. I think this was amazing for the fans. And, I can't wait to see these guys do it again. I would love to see them run it back. I think they may run it back at some point. But, yeah, just 2 gargantuan athletes stepping in the boxing ring and entertaining the fans. You love to see it. Anyways, this was just my quick video on the Thor and Eddie Hall boxing match. Let me know what you guys thought about the fight. If you like this content, consider giving it a like. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you know when I drop my next video. Thor versus Eddie Hall did not disappoint at all, and like I said before, I cannot wait to see these guys run it back. I'm Large Kofi. Thank you for watching.